Hello and welcome back to my channel as well as to the Let's Draw Island Style series. For those of you new here, I'm your host and artist VeemonTamer, and I'll be your guide through this crossover art journey that takes us on a nostalgic tour through gaming history while talking about art and reimagining some of gaming's biggest stars in a beautiful aesthetic inspired by the beloved 90s classic Yoshi's Island. Today, we'll be drawing Link while discussing my history with the Zelda series, as well as talking about today's art topic related to the process, advantages of recording your artwork. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay. Before anyone feels bamboozled, quick heads up that the image of Link used in the thumbnail will be different from the one that we see here in today's video. Reason being is that the recording for that video got corrupted. So we will still be drawing Link, but it'll definitely be an older and earlier prototype version. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started for real this time. So what exactly was it about the Zelda series that influenced me or inspired me as an artist? Sadly, I don't have a lot of history with Zelda games. It's not that I didn't want to play them, it's just that I didn't have much of a choice as to what games I got when I was younger. What small amounts of games I did have as a kid, I was super thankful for because they were a huge blessing. I haven't played any Zelda titles before Breath of the Wild. Yeah, I know, it's kinda nuts that Breath of the Wild was my first Zelda game, huh? But don't worry, playing through the series is definitely on my bucket list of things to do this year. Content creation and uploading art and editing videos on a consistent basis is a lot, and I mean a lot of work. When I can catch a break or better optimize my daily schedule, I'll go back and play some of the classics. One additional note that I'd like to point out is that you might notice that I'm tracing some portions of the image. That's because this is my second time drawing Link. It's a redraw of my first one, however, I didn't set the resolution high enough, resulting in a blurry image, so I have to go back and redraw the entire image, and I decided to make some adjustments while I was doing so. So we'll go ahead and make a smooth transition over to today's art topic, and that's the advantage of recording your artwork. So it might seem like it's an extra step in the art process, but I think it's totally worth it because of the benefits and many uses that recording your artwork can offer. You can time yourself, which is super helpful when it comes to commissions. Seeing how long a piece takes can help you better think about your pricing structure, so that way you aren't underselling yourself. Another benefit to recording your work is growth. I like watching replays of my art, and I actually encourage others to do the same. Maybe it's just the good old ex-competitive Smash player in me talking, but I think analyzing our performance is a very important habit that we should become accustomed to doing. Just like any player who rewatches their sets to see what they could have done more optimally or different, I think the same practice can be applied to us creatives and artists as well. I think one of the biggest ways recording artwork has helped me is that it is a personal reminder of how I actually do my process. In my previous video, while drawing Donkey Kong, we discussed coming up with a plan to avoid creative frustration and burnout, and what my personal solution was. Today, I think it's worth discussing what the biggest sign of art burnout was for me that led up to dropping art for 2 years. Because I was so focused on perfection of line art, anatomy, and perspective, I would rarely ever reach the coloring phase of many of my pieces. One day upon returning from my burnout and drawing hiatus, I noticed that I had completely forgot how to color. I didn't know which tools or settings that I used, I didn't know anything. Luckily, I had recordings of my past pieces that I could look back on to see what settings I used, how I applied the colors, and etc. If not for these recordings, I probably would have had to have relearned my own style from scratch. Okay, so now that you know some useful applications, which programs would you use for this? OBS and XSplit are programs that are often used for streaming, but can be used to record artwork since they capture video from your screen anyways. Clip Studio Paint is a really good illustration software that recently had an update that added screen recording support natively within the program. I'll leave some links down below, and no, I'm not sponsored, they're just for your reference. If you don't have Clip Studio Paint or are looking to also live stream your artwork, here are 2 great options. OBS is an amazing, free, open source software that has tons of community support and development. I highly recommend OBS. It's gotten me by for many years before I switched to XSplit. My switch to XSplit was just personal preference because I had some issues with my video card running OBS, resulting in frame drops, crashes, and lags during streams. Though, there is one very important thing that I think everybody needs to be aware of when choosing a program, and that's OBS's recording stability. Remember how I said at the start of the video how a recording for the piece I was supposed to show today got corrupted? Yeah, that's courtesy of OBS. So if you start a recording and anything happens that prevents you from clicking the stop recording button to prompt OBS to finalize your file, it just becomes corrupt and unusable. This is why I personally prefer XSplit, because it finalizes recordings on the fly, meaning that even if it crashes midway through your recording, it is still safe. However, this isn't really a common problem, it's just one that I was unlucky enough to face, so please do not let this scare you away from OBS. OBS is an excellent option, especially when keeping in mind that XSplit comes with a $200 price tag. And here we have it, our hero time. If you like the content so far, learned something new, or found any tips helpful, be sure to subscribe to the channel because there's plenty more art, stories, and tips on the way. Now that Link is complete, it's time to advance forward and battle space pirates with Samus next. But before we do, I have a question for you lovely viewers on this journey with me. What are some ways that you analyze your art to help yourself improve? By leaving your comments and stories down below, you help the community grow. I also want to give a shout out to everyone who supports me over on Patreon. If you like my work and want to see me grow as an independent artist, please consider supporting me over on Patreon. Patreon subscriptions grant you access to things such as power to vote what I draw, your name at the end of YouTube videos, and stickers mailed to you every month. Well, that's it for now, and I'll see you all next time on Let's Draw Island Style.